usually mostly done morning.
Right. Okay, so look at your, make sure this is kind of back.
Comms has got to be the most intimidating thing in the entire world. You already don't know what you're doing when you're flying the plane, or you don't feel confident in it. And then when you have to speak on the radio knowing that literally everybody in the surrounding airspace can hear you, it's super intimidating.
It's all very confident in pilot speak, and you're like, oh, okay, that's cool, I can do that. And then when it's actually your turn, it's a lot harder. The controllers here at Frederick are fantastic. They're very friendly, they're very helpful, and they also really sound like they're speaking Swahili at first.
Frederick Tower, information Alpha 21470 Zulu weather.
I remember the first time I heard Luz talk, I wasn't as much listening to what she was saying, I was just kind of thinking how fast she's saying it and how the other, ground control is responding, and that also seemed really fast. It just felt like I was listening to a totally different language.
Roger that. Taxi straight ahead via Echo to the ramp, monitor ground point 975.
Knowing at that moment that one day I would be asked to make an attempt to do that for the first time, it was really scary.
We have ground, so the first thing you're going to say is, who are we going to call?
Frederick Ground.
And who we are?
So Frederick Ground, Cessna 172, Uniform Charlie at the neck, ready to taxi heading northeast via Romeo.
Excellent. Very good.
Pre-wrote it down.
Excellent, and just keep the pen handy
For
so
when he
you can
says
jump
back.
down. Yep.
But he says back so fast that I can't understand.
That's okay.
Ready?
Yep, the frequency's in there.
Frederick Ground, Cessna 172, Uniform Charlie at the NAC, ready to taxi heading northeast. We have Romeo.
The number 172 Uniform Charlie, Frederick Ground. ATIS Sierra is now online. Wind calm, altimeter 3004. Runway 23, taxi via Alpha, cross runway 30 at Alpha.
Okay, so Alpha.
Okay.
And crossing 30 on Alpha for runway 23.
23.
Okay,
So I say 2 soon.
Yep.
2 Uniform Charlie, we have Alpha, crossing 30 to runway 23.
Okay. Yep. Good.
That was bad. I
That's
couldn't read my
fine.
handwriting.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Uniform Charlie, thank you.
Now that I've been doing it for a couple months, it's a lot better. It is still a little fast, so we always write everything down. I think that's probably pretty common when you're training. Listen to it a couple times, write down everything, temperature, dew point, winds, and then make your first call in.
2 Uniform Charlie's ready on 23.
It is getting easier, but it's still not my favorite. Still get the sweaty palms every single time and hope it's not the same person who heard me mess up.
Can we turn her up a little bit?
Tower, information Alpha 2147 Zulu weather. Wind
Better?
calm, visibility 10. Sky conditions 9,000 scatter, temperature 32, dew point 19er, altimeter 29094. Official approach runway 23 in use. Lightning in the distance
Okay.
east,
You got the information?
southwest, and west.
Okay, who do you do
Advise an
next?
initial
Sure.
contact of information Alpha.
So we call them, say, Frederick Ground.
Yeah, so good. Put it.
Frederick Tower, information
Says Frederick Ground.
So Frederick Ground, 172 Uniform Charlie is in the NAC, ready to taxi.
Yep, with
Information India,
Alpha.
Alpha.
Okay.
Wrong information.
And we northeast.
Northeast.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
And then just ready to, from.
I forgot my book.
That's okay. No worries. So we'll just listen to what she has to say. She'll taxi 23 via Alpha, cross runway 30 on Alpha, more than likely to runway 23. Okay?
Okay. Jeez. Alright, you may have to help me today.
That's fine, huh?
I'm so
That's fine.
preoccupied.
That's fine.
After a few lessons, comms is really something that doesn't stress me out as much anymore. It's so normal and procedural that you just kind of go with it. I will say something that still happens is when the airfield is really busy and they tell you something that you've never heard before and you have to listen and understand what they're saying and repeat it back. I still get that nervous feeling inside when that happens, but if I just remember to stop and stay calm, I realize it's not that big of a deal, and I really can attribute that to just practicing that over and over again and with Luz's help.
We started flying, I think it was in February probably. I had this conception that we would kind of just like bam, bam, bam and be done by the middle of August, but as it turns out, life happens. So I actually ended up taking off 2 months from flying for various reasons, the biggest one being that I got married, and that took a lot more out of me than I thought it was going to in terms of just planning and insanity. So I probably only flew maybe 3 times in those 2 months.
It turns out really early in my flying, I had to go 2 months basically only flying twice. I was freaking out at the time, but then after getting a lesson in and getting back in the left seat, I realized it's kind of like riding a bike. You don't totally forget everything. Luz did a great job of refreshing me on certain things, but it wasn't as hard as I thought, so it made me not panic as much and not be afraid to kind of take a step back if I need to for certain reasons, to just be able to be at my best when I do fly.
Mark was phenomenal about getting me back in the air once I got back and making sure that I actually understood all of the things that we'd already covered so I wasn't starting on an incorrect basis when I got back into the left seat.
One of the things that Luz was really great about was connecting me with a backup instructor so that when our schedules just didn't coordinate, I could fly with somebody else. And so I flew with Fred.
7172 Uniform Charlie, Frederick Tower, make left close traffic, runway 30, clear for takeoff, report midfield, downwind east pass, departing in front of an RV on a right base 2 miles.
2 Uniform Charlie, we're clear to go, runway 30, left traffic.
Let's go.
Cessna 5195 Yankee, 5 mile right base 20.
Skyhawk 5195 Yankee, report 2 mile right base.
I didn't know what to expect from flying with him, and so I was kind of nervous. But he did such a great job of just giving me a different perspective, and I learned a lot flying with him. I ended up flying with him probably 4 or 5 different times. It was a really great experience doing that, and then coming back to flying with Luz and kind of showing her the different things I learned and the different, talk about the different perspectives. It was just a really cool experience.